Ladies and gentlemen, James Lane here. This is the 81st episode of the American Reveille Podcast, and today we're going to talk all about what real privilege looks like, folks. We're going to talk all about Lady Gaga actually getting her French bulldogs back. And there's a very serious question you have to ask yourself while Lady Gaga parades around holier than thou, virtue signaling, letting everybody know she's better than you because you voted for Trump. The peasants never have a happy ending, right? That's the problem, isn't it? You have to ask yourself, when was the last time you had a happy ending? When was the last time something you wanted came true? Something that you wanted didn't come with extremely difficult work, labor, and grind. When was the last time? In Lady Gaga's world, every story and every massage has a happy ending, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to talk about that hypocrisy, because that hypocrisy, folks, that is the actual definition of privilege in this country. When the leftists walk around, when they virtue signal how better they are than you, and they look at you and say you have white privilege, no, they live in a world of nothing but privilege, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to do that, and then we're going to go into a couple other things after that, and you're just going to have to stay tuned to find out what's next. Ladies and gentlemen, James Lane here. This is the 81st episode of the American Reveille Podcast. It's Sunday. CPAC's going on. We're all excited to see what Donald Trump has to say. At least I'm excited to see what Donald Trump has to say. And, I've been thinking, in a world gone mad, right? In a world that's absolutely gone insane, right? People are out of their minds right now. One thing has stayed very true. Those with still have what they need, and those without still don't have a way to get what they need. Listen, what am I talking about, right? I'm talking about Lady Gaga. I'm talking about wealthy people, connected people, powerful people, being able to have happy endings to their fairy tales, no matter what is happening in the world, right? We, the people, we, the peasantry, the working class, when we have a problem, it can shatter our entire family. But Lady Gaga, no. Nothing would hurt Lady Gaga. So while she hypocritically dances her way around the country, talking about Trump supporters in such horrifying and negative ways, while she denounces the right, while she calls for social justice, somebody shoots her dog walker, kidnaps her dogs, she offers a $500,000 reward. No questions asked, ladies and gentlemen, and mysteriously somebody brings the dogs back. Do you have $500,000? Larry? Mike? Joe? Sarah? Melissa, Allison, Rebecca, Jeremy, do any of you? I'm just calling out random names. If that's one of you and you got $500,000 laying around to solve a problem, would you have $500,000 if your child was kidnapped and you had to put that money up? It's a serious question. Would you? I wouldn't. I love my daughter. I would chase somebody to the ends of the earth and I would eat their eyeballs from their face while they screamed in agony. And I'd enjoy it if somebody hurt my child. And you do the same thing. But folks, where would you get the means? Where would you get the means to pursue? Where would you get the funding? Lady Gaga has that. It's not a problem that she has that. She earned that. But what gives her the right? What gives her the right to judge us, to talk about us, to say the things she says and does the things she does, and then live this hypocritical life? We're accused all the time. We're all accused all the time of this white privilege, this genetic white privilege. Sounds like some Nazi stuff to me from the left. some Nazi stuff used against us on the right, saying that we have something wrong with our genes. I've seen them say it to white, black, brown, doesn't matter. If you're on the right, you have that gene. I've seen them do it. So why do they get to live in this double standard, in this double reality, right? Why do they get to say the things they say and live the life they live? Now, do I have a problem with Lady Gaga being wealthy and successful? No, I don't. But I have a problem with Lady Gaga opening her fat mouth about things she knows nothing about. And I mean, that's a problem, right? You heard her talk on the campaign trail. You heard her support Biden, right? She uses her power like a sword over us. And then when her little puppy dogs are taken, and, you know, I'm an animal lover, so I hope nothing happened to the dogs. I know she got them back. I'm glad the dogs are safe. But what I'm commenting on is when her little doggies are taken from her, she can, with a snap of her fingers, you read the story, she was away. She's filming somewhere, like in another country right now, making millions of dollars. And while that happened, someone shot the dog walker, took the dogs, and made $500,000, possibly, if it's that same person. I mean, if that person was smart, that's what they would do. That would be their motivation from the beginning, I guess. But think about that. She didn't even have to blink. Sometimes I've been in situations in my life where I've had to find things to sell to pay my rent, where I've had to beg for money to pay my rent so that I'm not thrown out onto the streets. She didn't even have to, like, she was texting while taking a poop. Like, oh, damn, my dogs. Oh, and then just got a text back. Brink. It's taken care of. Cool, let's bank transfer. You know? I mean, there's no problems, no stress in her life. And again, there's no problem with her not having stress in her life. You earn that, right? In a capitalist society, if you hit it big, you find your way in, you build a company, you make a successful podcast, get 1,000 sponsors, and all of a sudden are making $20 million. Well, that's not me, but if you're all of a sudden doing that, then hey, you've earned your slot, right? But why does that give you the right to crap on the little people, and then it's rubbed in our faces when all these great, wonderful things happen to her, right? It's an example, in my opinion, of privilege, real privilege, all right? Like I said before, they talk about privilege all the time, right? If you complain about something, you're privileged. If you find a good apartment for rent and they want to use it as an excuse to say you're a racist, you're privileged. They find any way whatsoever to call you privileged, right? But if you want to look at real definitions, Lady Gaga is privileged. This is an article from Breitbart, ladies and gentlemen, an article from Breitbart. And I want to read it to you. It's called Lady Gaga's Dogs Recovered Safely After Being Stolen in Armed Robbery. All right. Los Angeles AP, Lady Gaga's 2 French bulldogs, which were stolen by thieves who shot and wounded the dog walker, were recovered unharmed Friday, the Los Angeles PD had said. And for those listening on Apple Podcasts out there, I appreciate that. Do me a favor. Give me a 5-star rating and share. Leave a comment. Let everybody know that you are listening. If you're on Google Podcasts, tune in, any of the other ones, iHeartRadio, Spotify, do the same thing for me. Share. Thank you. But if you're listening, all right, if you're listening to the audio only show, there's a picture here of Lady Gaga looking lethargic, almost as if she's drooling upon herself, her hair parted messily, her highlights, obviously her roots growing out, not her highlights, but her roots grown out, looking sloppy, hugging this French bulldog that's pretty much wearing a onesie that has an expression on his face like, oh dear God, What are you going to do to me? I am terrified of what is about to possibly happen to me. The dog is probably worried that he may be suffocated as Lady Gaga cries over her empty life, but it's okay because nobody will see it because she's wearing the flying saucers from Batteries Not Included over her eyes in what seems to be blinders so she doesn't have to face reality. A woman who brought the dogs to the LAPD's Olympic Community Police Station just northwest of downtown around 6 p.m. said Captain Jonathan Tippett, commanding officer of the department's Elite Robbery Homicide Division. Lady Gaga's representative and detectives went to the station and confirmed they were the dogs, Tippett said. The singer's currently in Rome to film a movie. See what I mean? She's in Rome, ladies and gentlemen. How many of you have been to Rome? Folks, have you been to Rome? I've never been to Rome. Rome sounds so nice, right? Crystal clear beaches, maybe like a gyro platter, right? I don't know what they eat in Rome. You see the Colosseum. Are the beaches in Rome? I don't know. I'm thinking Italy, the commercials you see. Look, she's in Rome as Lady Gaga. I'm sure it's not crappy. It's probably really nice, right? The woman who dropped off the dogs appears to be uninvolved and unassociated with Wednesday night's attack, Tippett said. Where'd she get the dogs? Like somebody shot somebody to get the dogs, right? Like that's serious. Isn't that serious? That probably means they wanted the dogs for something, probably $500,000. I'm just saying. What did she do? Go and find those folks and just, is it Sarah Connor from Terminator? In her spare time, she does the Ace Ventura Pet Detective gig? Come on. That woman's probably associated. I'm just guessing, by the way. I'm not an expert. Don't sue me for saying that. It's just my guess. It's just my hunch, all right? Hunch. In a tweet Friday night, the LAPD said the woman had found the dogs and reached out to Lady Gaga's staff to return them. Her identity and the location where the dogs were found won't be disclosed for her safety, and because of the ongoing investigation, the LAPD said the dog walker Ryan Fisher was shot once as he walked 3 of the singer's dogs in Hollywood. Video showed a white sedan pulling up, 2 men jumping out. They struggled with the dog walker before one man pulled out a gun, fired a single shot, bam, before fleeing with the 2 dogs. The third escaped and has since been reunited with Lady Gaga's representatives. See, they weren't even reunited with Lady Gaga. It was with her representative. She's in Rome, filming a movie, doing her thing, right? She has caretakers for this. Again, not ragging on her. I know it sounds like I'm dogging her for being rich. People get rich. I hope to get rich one day. That would be nice. We all would like to get rich, right? It's not a lie. But with wealth and power, and she loves to wield that power around without any self-control, tact, or understanding of what she's talking about. With that wealth, with that power, right, comes some sort of responsibility. You would think, to act ethically and to make sound decisions. But instead she doesn't. She does stupid stuff. And then we have to watch as they tell us, again, we're privileged, while they demonstrate what true privilege actually is. The dog walker can be heard on a video saying he'd been shot in the chest, though he's expected to survive his injuries. Lady Gaga on Friday repeated her offer of a $500,000 reward for the return of her dogs, whose names are Koji and Gustav, with no questions asked. And that's the ticker right there. The criminals get away with murder, or attempted murder, right? Attempted murder, no questions asked. $500K, folks. Have you ever had? I've never seen $500,000. I've never seen $100,000. Have you ever seen $100,000? $500,000, no question asked. Like I said in the beginning, someone kidnapped your kid. Would you be able to? Where would you find that money? Where would you find that money? Let's see. I continue to love you, Ryan Fisher. You risked your life to fight for our family. You're forever a hero, Lady Gaga said in an Instagram post. Do I have anything against the dogs? No. Do I have anything against the Ryan Fisher guy making a living walking Lady Gaga's dogs? No. Do I have anything against Lady Gaga having a shit ton of money? No. Enjoy your money. What do I have against her? I have against her the fact that she opens her big fat trap. She talks crap about people on the right, says horrible things about Trump supporters, knows nothing about nothing, yet influences millions and millions of people, has a horrible effect on the future of this country, calls other people privileged, and yet has the audacity to do one of the most privileged things and demonstrate one of the biggest hypocrisies ever, which is to show us how even when her dogs are stolen, everything will always be okay for Lady Gaga. Ladies and gentlemen, many things aren't okay for us, but we're hard workers. We're the cogs in the wheel, folks. We're the gears, folks. That's what we are. We're the white knuckles. We're the calloused hands. We're the blue collar. That's what we do, right? So we have problems, but we've got thick skin. We got brass balls. We take care of those problems. These folks, all they can do is throw money at their problems. The difference between a good wealthy person is that wealthy person, when they throw money at those problems and throw money at other things, they do good things to balance that out, right? They actually educate themselves. That's what I'm saying. It's not a blanket statement against the rich. There are wonderful rich folks out there. It's rich, dumb people. That's what I have a problem with. There are plenty of rich, smart people out there. So let's all be smart people together, right? Let's all be smart people together. Not too much to ask. I would think it's not too much to ask, right, folks? With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I have some Babylon Bee exclusives for you, all right? So let's get cracking. To fight white supremacy, Coca-Cola discontinues vanilla Coke. Atlanta, Georgia. To fight white supremacy, Coca-Cola has discontinued its controversial product, Vanilla Coke, saying it's too white and must be dismantled as part of the company's continued emphasis on eliminating whiteness from society. All varieties of vanilla Coke, from cherry vanilla and orange vanilla to vanilla, will be pulled from the shelves as part of Coca-Cola's push to lessen whiteness. Quote, we now recognize that our vanilla Coke product perpetuates whiteness in a racist, problematic society and harms our efforts to make people less white, said a Coca-Cola executive on Friday. Anything with even a hint of whiteness must be eliminated. We now realize that we were in fact part of the problem all along as we promoted the alt-right adjacent flavor of vanilla. We will do better, he said before resigning. We will do better, he said before resigning, canceling, and doxing himself. We will do better, he said before resigning, canceling, and doxing himself. can't and banishing himself to a remote island in the Caribbean to think about his whiteness. Oh, chocolate. Oh my God, I'm dizzy. Chocolate Coke will replace the toxic, problematic product, and drinking it will, of course, be mandatory. So you better get ready, ladies and gentlemen, for chocolate Coke, all right? You better get ready for chocolate Coke. And in light of this situation, all right, in light of chocolate Coke, we need to take a look over at the Middle East, folks. We need to take a look over at the Middle East. Take a look at this. Middle Easterners, they've begun painting transgender flag colors on doorposts, just like the Jews painted lamb's blood on the doors to protect their firstborn. All right. Back in the days of old, right? Back in the Old Testament times, the Jews, right? They put lamb's blood on the door. It's okay. Anyway, look, Middle Easterners, they begin painting transgender flag colors on doorposts to avoid Biden drone strikes, folks, to avoid Biden drone strikes. Syria. Facing the coming wrath of President Biden, Middle Easterners turn to the only possible means of escape, painting their doorposts with the colors of the transgender flag. Please, oh angel of death, pass us by, cried one man as predator drones flew by, raining the wrath of Biden from above. I support your social justice causes. See, you can pass right on by. No problems with you here. We love you, President Biden. So proud to be bombed by female vice president of color for the first time. Historic. He then heard a missile coming in his general direction and scrambled inside to avoid getting blown up by the air-to-ground ordnance. Biden's drones have been programmed to ignore those homes that display the right social justice slogans, like transgender flags, Biden-Harris signs, and those obnoxious signs with all those leftist altruisms. Warning drones flew overhead before Biden's most recent strikes, warning citizens to flee from the wrath to come by painting the pink, white, and blue colors above and beside their doors. A sacrifice of a family's firstborn straight child is also acceptable in the name of equality. So get ready, folks. All right. You have to sacrifice your firstborn child. All right. You don't have to paint the transgender flag over the door. You can, if you're in Syria, you can paint the transgender flag around your door. Or you can sacrifice your firstborn child who seems to be straight and not part of the community in question. Folks, if you didn't believe me there, all right, if you didn't believe me there, then you'll believe me here, all right? Because we know that Biden can't be held accountable now. He can't. He can't. And you know why he can't? Because of this. Progress. The Biden administration applied Black Lives Matter decals to attack drones. All of them, all attack drones get Black Lives Matter. By the way, I want to thank the Babylon Bee. I'm just reading this off the Babylon Bee. The Babylon Bee will get more exposure for this, so hopefully they don't sue the crap out of me for laughing at their articles and commentating on them. Progress. Biden administration to apply Black Lives Matters decals to all attack drones. Now, this is progress, folks. In a move to bring the attention of issues of social justice in the United States, the Biden administration has announced that all attack drones used to bomb countries in the Middle East will have Black Lives Matters decals applied to them. How inspiring, right? Now, every time a bomb is dropped, it will be to the sound of social justice and progress moving throughout our great land and around the world, said Joe Biden. We want to show the BLM movement how much they've accomplished by electing Kamala Harris and also me. And this is progress to be proud of, folks. The administration will be rolling out drones with rainbow designs, drones with climate change is real stickers, and the United States military's first ever transgender attack is the first ever transgender attack drone, because it was originally an attack helicopter, but now identifies as a drone. That's funny. That's really funny. Guys, I wanted to make you laugh today. I wanted to read those to you. There's a point to it, though, right? There's a reason why. The first thing we talked about with Lady Gaga, that's important. That's real, right? That is a real example of privilege. All right? What I'm talking about is serious. But it's also absolutely ridiculous. What's happening in general is absolutely ridiculous. Everything that's going on is absolutely ridiculous. And the articles that I just read you are absolutely ridiculous, which is why they were hilarious. because they're ridiculous. See the pattern? The stuff that the left is pushing is ridiculous. It should be funny. It should be something we laugh out of a room. But social media and other factors like big tech censorship and allowing those ideas to perpetuate in their own bubbles, in their own world, fester in their own stew, in their own pots, with their own communities, and blow up into these viral sensations. They've unfortunately infected minds across this great land. But in the real world, they are ridiculous ideas. They are. At the end of the day, it seems to be going where Dan Bongino and everybody else thinks it's going. Two separate worlds, two separate economies, two separate markets. And that's okay. At this point, if that's what keeps it together for another 20 years, that's okay. So let's build our world. Let's build our social media. Let's build our own privilege. They don't have any for the peasantry. That's okay. We can make our own. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this episode. And do me a favor, head over to Parler at the James Lane. All right, at the James Lane on Parler. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's spotty on the app. It seems to work on the website a lot. All right, but it's getting better and better. They're working the kinks out. So at the James Lane on Parler, follow me there. If you're on Gab, American_Reveille on Gab. I got the blue check mark, folks. Come follow me on Gab at American_Reveille. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, if you're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, any of those out there, follow, subscribe, share, leave a comment, all right? If you're watching me on YouTube, do the best you can. I'm shadow banned there and all of the other mainstream platforms as well. I'm on Odyssey, all right, American_Reveille there, Gab TV, American_Reveille there. You can find everything in the links below, all right, folks? If you do digital art, if you do video editing, video production type stuff, video graphics, I need help, folks. If you're a writer, I could use some help. All right. If you want to be a blogger, I could use some help. All right. Reach out to me, James Lane. All right. James Lane at American Reveille, REVEILLE.com. You can leave feedback there. You can ask me questions there. You can give me suggestions there. We are rolling forward, Patriots, and you are coming with us. Look forward for some awesome announcements coming about the street team in the next few weeks. We have supplies coming on the way, and I've got 1,000 very special envelopes going out across the country. So I look forward to revealing what that is to you on this show. All right, folks? I'll see you in the next episode, and I really appreciate you watching. Bye.